Hey guys, welcome to Ready Set Live, episode 18. This is going to be a short condensed version, but today we're going to be talking about cards that we want to cook with. We just basically took the cards that we love the most and we're like, you know what? How can we make a deck out of this? We're going to be talking about all that and more on this episode of Ready Set Live. Let's get into it.
Ready, set, draw!
Welcome back.
Hey, what's up?
All right. It's been a little minute since we've seen each other, but not too long.
Yeah, no,
not
it
too
hasn't.
long.
Yeah, I was about to say, like, we've seen each other
Yeah.
because we did the opening day.
Mm-hmm.
So it was such a great day.
Yeah.
Such a great day.
I just want to clarify real quick. It is just me and Tyler here today. We have a mini episode during the holiday time that we're recording this. We don't have a ton of time to get a whole thing. We think y'all understand. But either way, we do want to recap real quick. Both of us had some product that we could open on opening day, on launch day of Rise of the Floodborn. We opened a few boxes each. And
A few.
Well, I mean, literally for me, it was a few. But
For you, it was 3. For me, it
Trove,
was 4.
starter decks. Didn't have a ton of time to build decks on that day, but it was overwhelming, the amount of stuff.
So many cards,
actually-
man.
I didn't take off work that day,
I know,
so
yeah.
it was
So he
it was
didn't
a
take
little
off.
harder
I
for
did.
me to like have the full day experience. But since that day, I've gotten a chance to play. How about you?
I have. I got to play last night.
Yeah, the set's good.
Oh, yeah. No.
The set is good.
The fact that I built an entire deck off of just set 2 cards and felt was like, wow, that's actually pretty good. Like,
Yeah.
I don't
It's
know what to do
tempting.
here.
It's that you look at the set 1 cards and you're like, I love you, but like I have new friends now. It's like
Yeah.
Andy passing the toys. You're
Oh,
like,
my
it's
God. Oh.
You got to move on. It's sad.
Oh,
Whatever.
that's so
I don't want
sad.
to depress people thinking about Toy Story 3. Anyways, the topic at hand today is cards to cook with. The idea is inspired by the colloquial phrase, let them cook. And I know that on YouTube and social media in general, there's a big push for like, oh, I cook whenever you make a good deck, you know? So
Like we said, we hungry.
yeah, I would say you are probably the more avid deck builder than me. You like to cook.
I like to tinker.
more often. For me, I like to build decks, but I like to like build a deck and then like really focus that
Yeah,
deck in for a
hone it
longer
in.
period of time.
Yeah.
You'll jump from deck to deck to deck, which is its own kind of love. You know what I
Yeah, I feel like the process of deck building is kind of what I typically have more fun being creative about.
mean? Yeah.
But I will say, as of recently, like when I tore apart all of my decks from set 1,
Oh gosh.
because I did, I went back in, I was just like,
Unsleeve everything.
This is
Yeah.
all unsleeved. We're starting from scratch. That there was some cathartic moments
Yes.
in all of that of just like looking at all of them and like, yeah, this needed to happen.
Yeah.
Like these were not good. And
Mhm.
this set, wherever you are, trust me, next time any of us play, I'm coming for you.
I can say this. One deck, and we'll get to the topic at hand, trust me, we will get there. One deck that in our previous episode, I referred to it, I think it was in a previous mailbag. They asked, like, what do you think will be the top of the meta? And I was like, I'm not a meta guy, but like,
And Amber
I'll
Steel.
answer a question.
Yeah,
I'll answer it for
Amber
you.
Steel
And I said Amber Steel would probably sit there because they get a lot of new toys. I did not properly back myself up during the starter deck episode because I mentioned that Let the Storm Rage On and Strength of a Raging Fire were just things that got added. They were all right. No.
we learned very
Cinderella.
quickly.
Cinderella, she's dancing. She's dancing, she's singing. She's a one-woman show, and she is capable of playing those cards. I massively underestimated how good that early damage would be on a one-drop.
A 1-drop
Yeah.
sing 3.
Yeah, this is something that I didn't take into account Cinderella's synergy with those cards to make those cards super viable.
Dude, she's so
But
good.
I think I can pat myself on the back here that I made the safe bet, and it seems to have paid off.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Amber Steel is still a deck that is a menace for a lot of people. However, a deck that we're discussing today, it's something that's actually pretty good against Amber Steel. So stick with us. But we're going to start. When we talk about cards to cook with, it's a card that we saw, looked at, and said, oh yeah,
Oh yeah.
I want to build that deck.
Main
So-
ingredient type stuff,
Yes,
guys.
main ingredient. It's the meat and potatoes of it. So, what is the first card that you looked at in this set and thought, I'm gonna make a deck about that?
So it's funny because it definitely wasn't the first card, and I feel like we talk a lot about like when it's me and Anthony on this side
Mhm.
talked a lot about the fact that bounce was like the deck.
Mhm.
Like that's what we wanted to play.
Yeah.
And the very first card that like I was like, man, you know what? I don't care if it's not good. I want to build a deck around that.
Mhm.
Was bounce.
Yeah.
Like it was the bounce.
So you're
card.
gonna go for the second card we had planned.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So the bounce card as a whole was
Literally the card.
yeah, the card bounce.
Bounce, okay.
Because I was ready for some bouncing.
You love doing that. I think you do a good job of it personally.
Oh,
so.
thank you. Well, I grew up loving Tigger,
Yeah.
and he is the only one.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, like the bounce mechanic and the bounce card itself, like I just thought immediately, I was like, you know what? This could be really good.
Yeah. It's
Like it's got some interesting flow, and I wanted more, obviously. And when we first talked about it, it was right when Merlin came out.
yeah.
And so it was like
I think it was on our second episode about talking about the cards
Yeah.
because we were in the previous studio space.
Yeah.
But
we had no
still
idea.
We didn't have all the Merlins and Mims yet.
Yeah.
Even we just
No.
had Merlin Shapeshifter.
Yeah, we had Merlin Shapeshifter and Bounce, and I was
Mhm.
like this could be good if you threw it in and you had like Mother Knows Best and like no.
Thinking about Genie, it's
Oh
like
yeah,
I could
like
replay
the other,
Genie.
yeah, I could do some other bounce mechanic. No. So first card that led me into a deck I decided to build was Bounce,
Yeah.
and the deck I actually did make a deck.
We will put the deck image on the screen so you can kind of screenshot it if you want to or you can pause the video and scan through the list. I'm going to cover your back for a second. You are not building to crush the meta.
No, this
you're
is
just
not
building to have some fun.
Yeah, this is 100% a let's have fun deck.
Yeah.
Because it's literally are you ready to get bounced?
Yeah.
Like that's literally
It's
what the
not
name
that
of the deck
serious,
is.
guys.
It's not. It's very much not.
It's
But,
just fun.
Yeah.
That's what the game's about, guys. Come on.
So this deck has 20 uninkables.
Oof.
So it's
Okay, I
100.
want to tune that a little bit.
Yeah, just a smidge. But let's to be fair. So the best deck, this probably the second best deck of last format was Ruby Amethyst.
Yeah.
And Ruby the Amethyst, like Ant could attest to this, 100% had way too many uninkables.
Mhm.
It had easily 20.
Yeah.
Like most of the time, it's
And
a
if
20
you didn't
count.
have that many, you felt like you were missing out on
Yeah,
some
you
things.
you were definitely not playing certain things, and it felt like the deck had to play that. This deck, the way that it's put together, you actually kind of have to, or else you're not going to be playing some stuff. You could probably fine tune some stuff just away from what's already kind of there.
I think just based on what I've seen in your list, I think the cuttable, uninkable cards are more so the panic.
Yeah,
The couple of panics, and also I think you could maybe shave down on the gruesome and grim just because you have Madam Sorcerer.
yeah,
But other than that, it's a fun deck. If you're playing casually, you don't mind about bricking a couple hands every now and then. It's not going to be the end of the world.
and
You're
the fun
you're still having a
thing,
good
the
time.
combination between Madame Mim and Dr. Facilier, the Floodborn, is so dumb. Because you just want to bring it out, swing with it, then put it right back in your hand and restart the whole
Yeah.
process again.
So just for those who are listening and not watching the show, I do want to give them a little bit of a helping hand here. Go through the list and just mention the key cards. You can skip over the filler cards or
Okay.
the ones that are just purely
So,
synergistic. Just get to the meat and potatoes of the deck.
So the meat and potatoes of the deck is basically just like the Merlin love.
Mhm.
So funny enough, I did not put Merlin Shapeshifter, which we talked about that
Mhm.
before the pod.
Yeah.
That apparently it's getting left off of a lot of a lot of
Yeah.
the decks,
It
and
might
it's
just be
not
a little bit slow.
It is a little bit slow, and it's not the fact that it's a bad card. It's not. It's just it's not really needed.
There's so many good cards now.
Yeah, there's a lot of really good cards.
Even good cards get edged out in lists now.
Yeah.
So
So probably the best cards to talk about is definitely Madam Mim, the shift form.
Mhm.
Such a good card. Gruesome and Grim, obviously lots of synergy in between both of those.
Mhm.
Obviously it's built onto the card. Arthur, really,
Ooh.
really great card. It's so dumb
To me,
because you're
hot take, best uninkable card in the deck.
Oh, far and away. And there's a reason why it's at 4.
Yeah.
You're running 4 of those, and
Yeah.
you're not running 4 of it. Well, you're running 4 of a lot of things, but that's definitely a must. The goat, the goat, has to be ran at 4. It's too good not to, especially when if you're using it with Dr. Facilier, you
Where it
want to
returns
just
to your hand when it's
you
banished.
just want to swing it into
Yeah.
something, let it get banished, and then put it right back in your hand
Yeah,
and do
it's
it
great.
all over again.
I like that.
It's there's a lot of synergies in this deck. It's a lot of fun. The one, and you talked about it for a second, the Pain and Panic. That was a combination of cards with the bounce mechanic that I didn't know that I wanted,
Mm-hmm.
because Pain wants to come down turn 2, but Panic on turn 3 to be able to quest for 3 with Pain. That's such a good combo to be able to continually use over and over again by putting Panic back in your hand.
Yeah, it's something that you can quest with Panic before you do return him, if you do happen to have him stick around. So it's a little bit slow, but like it's one of those things that at least you're getting win the game level payoff.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. So I do want to focus the questions of each of these cards that you want to cook with. Like when you say the bounce card made you want to cook, we got the deck list. That's cool. We can see a vision that you had. What's the interaction, the singular interaction that you want to pull off in this deck that makes you feel like I'm doing a thing?
So just bounce as a whole, like the card itself, like being able to be choosy.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can choose your opponent's card and then you can bounce your own.
Mm-hmm.
So that combination of being able to control the opponent's board while also actually having a legitimate payoff with your own stuff, like that.
In an ideal world,
it's tasty.
What is the best play that you think you can get in this deck with bounce, with the card bounce? Like, what do you return from them, or what do you return of your own? Do you return 2 of your own? Who knows? What's the best? Use?
Ideally, the best way, I mean, honestly, is bouncing another one of their cards and then bouncing the goat.
The goat. So
like
getting like a high value target.
Yeah, and
something
then
like a
bouncing something that you
think.
obviously know is not that good.
If you could make them return like their entire Stitch Rockstar setup or
Oh
something,
my goodness,
that would be pretty sweet.
Bouncing back an engine,
yeah,
that'd
be nice. Something heavy.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we're gonna move on to the next setup. Thank you very much for your bounce synergy. We're gonna get to one of my cards to cook with, and it's one of the cards that I'm not sure if the episode of Spicy or Trash with John T came out by the time this episode is released, but John T and I gave it a standing ovation when we rated this card. The card I want to cook with is Shere Khan.
Yeah.
This card is literally one of the cards that I saw and said, thank you.
I feel really bad because I actually pulled 4 when we traded.
And I got one.
No.
Wait, you pulled 4?
I pulled 4.
You have another you can trade me?
I will not trade it to you, sir, because I have 3 now. I have a total of 3.
Okay,
you have
anyways,
3. I have 3.
We're getting off the topic here. I'm gonna get one of those Shere
you're
Khans. Okay, I need one more. People at home, I need one more.
Send him one.
In the arms. For the low price of 1 Shere Khan, you can make Jacob a very happy boy. Anyways,
Merry
Shere
Christmas,
Khan
you filthy animal.
has the text gain 1 lore on it, which I love to see, because if the text is on the card, that means it gets it some other way than questing, right? I love lore gain without having to quest. That's sweet. And it does one of the things that I love the most in the game, and it's challenging. It's the interactive portion of the game is more fun. So if you can get payoff for challenging, I was immediately like, okay, where do I go with this? I can go a couple ways. I can go in the route of he's just a payoff card and I embrace the challenge style of a Ruby Steel deck. Or I can go in the way of I'm going to try and make this the win condition and make as wide of a board as possible that's challenging all over the place and healing itself back up to make it rejuvenated and ready for more challenges. The Steel version, to me, lends itself to more control and just lockdown, and it's an arduous process, but you're just getting that lore sneakily and slowly, just sneak lore there. You incidentally gain the lore, which makes it where you don't lose tempo by trying to play that control the game, which is great. Now, the version that I would like to highlight, though, was a list that I saw. I don't want to act like I built this deck on my own here. It was an inspired list from Discord, and I forgot which content creator. I will try and find the content creator and give you credit on the screen. I'm sorry, so sorry that I don't remember who you are right now, but I saw a list in the Discord for a Ruby Amber list.
Yeah.
And I call it Law of the Jungle because Shere Khan is in the jungle. He's telling you how things are, but I also want to emphasize that Shere Khan is clever, and He's all about finding that tactical advantage, and that also emphasizes the tactical advantage of strength manipulation. So it really relies on the queen. Shere Khan's the king of the jungle. Shere Khan's the queen of the queen is the queen of the jungle. And this deck really leans on like challenges are going to happen. The board's going to be wide. I'm going to get a lot of payoff from that challenge because I'm not only getting lore, I'm drawing cards.
We're going to be swinging.
We're going to be swinging. We got Maui's. We have ways to ready up characters like Shield of Virtue and Radigan. The reveal card that we got,
Oh, yeah.
Teeth and Ambitions, solid in this deck. Not only can you sing it with the Queen of Hearts 2-cost, you can sing it with LeFou. Yes, they may get banished after they target themselves, but you frequently will have other targets to hit with your own Teeth and Ambitions. Shere Khan can take a Teeth and Ambitions if he needs to.
Oh, yeah.
So it's pretty nice. The other thing that's cool about this deck is it features one of the other cards that I would like to highlight, not just Shere Khan, one of the other cards that I was like, ooh.
Be prepared.
And it was
no, I'm
not
just
just
kidding.
be prepared. Yeah, not be prepared. It's Scar Vicious Cheater.
Oh, my gosh.
Just because when I saw him, I was like, oh, that's removal. But if you're using him as
so much better than
removal,
removal.
if you're using him as removal, it's like you're discounting what he can do.
Yeah.
Because he's kind of not as good just judged as a removal card.
I would also like to point out that this deck would also be really good in Ruby Emerald with the new beast that just came out.
Oh, yeah, it's pretty
you
cool.
can constantly just swing and it automatically readies itself.
Yeah, that's a good that is a good point. The Emerald has synergies with the Ready Up too. In particular, though, this Scar, he kind of like scams the game of like
a little
you
bit.
get two Shere Khans out or 3
Ooh.
or 1 even. If you get a Scar to hit and they have a board that was not prepared for a Scar, literally they were not prepared.
Were not prepared.
They
wasn't
can
ready.
just take multiple challenges and you're like 1 or 2 lore here, 1 or 2 lore again, 1 or 2 lore again. And
So
you can play a
gross.
Rapunzel in the mix of that, heal it back up, and keep it going. That requires they have a wide board. I don't want to pretend like that's in every game instance.
Oh, yeah, no.
But it is such a payoff. Like it is a wombo combo. So that kind of answers my what
Combo
interaction.
breaker.
Yeah, the interaction is what excites me the most.
Oh, yeah.
What spoke to me about Shere Khan was like, I can win the game based off just challenging.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
pretty sick. So yeah, that combo. I'm ready to move on to your next deck though.
Oh, yeah.
Because your next deck is also one that's in the same
It's
colors,
so tasty.
but it's like
It's
a
a
combo.
completely different type of deck,
Mhm.
though. So my next deck is it's
What's your
based on.
card?
So the card that I base this on is Christopher Robin. Now, for those of you who don't know, I am a big softie, and the Christopher no, it's called Christopher Robin. Christopher Robin, the movie, makes me so sad. It's such a beautiful movie. If you haven't watched it, go watch it. Go watch it. But Christopher Robin says that whenever you ready this character, if you have 2 or more other characters in play, you gain 2 lore. That's really, really good.
Oh yeah.
So
It's sneaky because you think of it as like, oh, when your turn starts, you get 2 lore for free.
Yeah.
That's pretty neat.
Yep, nope, better than that.
It ain't about that.
it ain't about it. Trust me.
If that were it, then you wouldn't be cooking.
No, I would not be cooking. So the whole point of the deck that I have built is that you want to make it where you can either quest or sing with Christopher Robin and constantly ready him back up with at least 2 characters on the board. So you're playing things like LeFou and Bodyguards and Cinderella, because as we've already previously stated, the 1-drop Cinderella,
Very
OP,
good. Yeah.
busted. Who thought that Singer 3 on a 1-drop was going to be really good? Everyone, apparently. So such a great card. You basically use Christopher Robin, and this is a really funny interaction. We're going to talk about it more later, but the interaction between Christopher Robin and I Can Go the Distance is such an interesting combination.
Yeah.
Because you can choose him if he's damaged, and you do technically, like, after you've readied him at least once with like a LeFou or a Fan the Flames, like that is 100% a card that I would be more than happy to go to and like swing it in to something. You can quest
Yeah.
with it the first time,
Yeah.
and then ready it up with something else, and then swing with
Hit
it,
something.
and then ready it up again, and then swing with it again, and then ready it up again.
So you can it's Christopher Robin can sing Go the Distance, which readies him back up. He gains the 2 lore, and then he can sing another thing. And even if it's a Go the Distance.
So dumb.
You could basically, in your hand, you could keep Go the Distance and just pile them in your hand. If you amass the card draw, you could pile them in your hand and just sit on it. Because you know that if you have a damaged Christopher Robin, it's just 8 lore.
And you know what's great about that? It draws you a card.
Yes, it replaces itself.
It's such a good replacement effect.
That is a sweet combo. I didn't even think about it until you put this together, so I'm very proud of you. The list as a whole, it could do
it could use a couple of different things. There were some
pet cards maybe.
It wouldn't even be a pet card. It's the fact that there were limitations that I put on myself strictly from the fact that I don't own all of the cards.
Yeah.
Like with the deck list that is going to be up on the screen, the cards that I put in here are the cards that I actually own.
Yeah.
So I put the deck together with the mentality of this is what I have. I'm going to stick to this, so that way I'm not creating in my mind some unrealistic.
I also think it's a positive thing, though. That's a positive thing because it kind of tells people at home, like, you don't always have to go ham. And put the perfect list together. Like, build what you got and you can still have fun.
Oh yeah,
you know.
And this is going to be a fun deck. Yeah. And I'm honestly, with how this deck has looked like it could be, there are going to be some people that get destroyed by this deck. It's going to be so much fun.
I'm probably going to be one of them because I'm glad that we've talked about this deck before you play against me, because if you sat down at a table and you were like, oh, it's a Christopher Robin combo deck, I'd be like, all right, we got this. And then you'd play like 3 Go the Distance in one turn against me, and I'd be like, dude, you were at 12. And I lost.
And now I'm at 20. What do you know?
I love the idea of like questing with Christopher Robin, playing Teeth and Ambitions just on its own, getting 2 damage on him, killing something else or banishing something else, and then readying him up.
Don't give me more reasons to put other cards in this deck.
It gets damage. You could just... we're going to move on.
Please.
We're going to move on.
Please.
Now, the next deck, we talked about a deck that plays well against Amber Steel. Amber Steel is currently, the song list is still with Ariel and Cinderella.
It's good.
Still has Grab Your Sword, still has a whole new world. It has more toys with Strength of a Raging Fire and Let the Storm Rage On. This deck is definitely something you're going to see at your locals if you have some spikes there who are looking to win some games. But you can play a deck that does well against it. And while I may not have thought of this outright on my own, the genesis of the idea was something I wanted to do, and I'm pretty sure I stated it on the channel before it was like discovered in air quotes. You know,
what's the card that you wanted to cook with? That is not something that you should ever try and cook with. Yeah. And I'm not talking about the card. I'm talking about the
literal popsicle.
Don't cook with a popsicle. So, don't do it.
I can use it as a stirring stick after I eat it.
Okay.
The popsicle, when I saw this card spoiled, the thing that went through my head was I have a Ruby Sapphire Tamatoa item ramp list.
Oh, yeah.
And it's not that good. But
glad we got that out of the way.
I need to give a caveat. It's not that good because the kinds of items you have to play aren't that good. You have to play things like Sword of Truth and Poisoned Apple. And those cards have a little too high of a cost.
Ooh, need another Poisoned Apple. Thank you for reminding me.
Okay, I'll give it to you. And they don't have the payoff. Like you can have situational matchups where they don't do anything. So you got to cut those cards. What do you replace them with? When I saw Pawpsicle, I immediately thought, it draws a card, so it replaces itself, and it can heal.
And it banishes itself to Tamatoa.
Exactly.
Oh my goodness,
now,
the synergies.
Tamatoa has had to move to the side, though, because Tamatoa, while he is so shiny, he is not the focus of the deck anymore.
He's also not the best card in that deck.
No. I'm pretty sure everybody at home who's watched the channel before probably knows what card they were thinking I was going to say. They were thinking I was going to say Grand Pabby. But Pabby is in the deck. The deck, as you will see now, is called Pabby's Pawpsicles. Now, Pabby is not a necessary card. He's a pet card of mine. By pet card, I mean a card I am well aware may be suboptimal, but I'm playing it anyway.
Don't let him fool you.
Yeah,
it's his pet rock. Like
yeah, that's good. It's a card I'm playing. I want to get the synergy. When I ask that question, like what interaction excites you the most, that's it. I'm looking for the chance to play a Pawpsicle, draw a card to replace it, and then have Pabby out, have cards that I play, like in the deck list. I'll run through some of the cards. You plan on taking some damage because you're going to be challenging and you're going to be constantly trying to control the board with cards like Maui and with cards like Teeth and Ambitions. You have the Be Prepared. That's not really synergizing with it. It's just like I need to wipe the board immediately. But cards are going to be taking damage, especially because you have cards with very large willpower like Tamatoa and Maleficent Monstrous Dragon, even Grandpappy himself. You're looking to get the synergy of occasional healing with Pawpsicle if needed, so you could get lore with Grandpappy, or you can get a Pawpsicle to be banished by a card that I recognized was a powerful synergy, but I didn't know how powerful of a synergy it was going to be in Hiram Flaversham.
Oh, yeah.
That card.
It's such a good card.
I want to give a proper shout out here. I know that the deck list, I've tweaked it, but the genesis of this deck list, credit goes to a YouTube channel called Zeph. It was pointed out to me by James Reiner on Twitter. I didn't even know about the guy, but I went to his channel. Great content. He's funny. He has great deck lists. It's good to explain humor and his strategy. It's really good. So shout out to you, Zeph. I'm not sure if you watch the channel.
Go check him out.
Check him out. This list kind of was tweaked from his list just because I wanted to include cards like Noi, the 2-drop that has ward and resist 1. If you have an item out, Pawpsicle's going to be out.
Oh, yeah.
But you also have Shield of Virtue, which could be out at that point in time.
Who doesn't love the shield, man?
The genesis of the deck was that channel, but I got to fit Pabby in there. I got to, because Pabby...
Got to let him cook.
Pabby is king. So I basically just want to say this. If you can find a way in your opening hand to have a Pawpsicle, a Hiram Flaversham, maybe a Judy Hopps, maybe a Nick Wilds, but most importantly also Teeth and Ambitions and Grandma Tala. Grandma Tala wants to be banished. Teeth and Ambitions can take that for you. She can sing it. Then she ramps you. It turns into an insane combo. So this is the deck that plays well against Amber Steel because it is capable of removing that Cinderella on turn 2 by singing Teeth and Ambitions. It's also capable of keeping the board consistently clear so that they don't have characters that can sing that well. It's not like an easy game. It's not like it's all wrapped up, we're all good here. But it is good enough in the matchup that, like, you might surprise some people. Maybe not if they're like really tuned into like what decks are on the rise, because this deck is definitely on the rise. Maybe by the time this episode comes out, it's already fallen again. People have found the kryptonite.
We found the kryptonite.
But this deck excites me so much because what I've wanted to work so bad is a Ruby Sapphire list.
And you got it.
And there's finally one with a Pawpsicle that could scratch
and draw power.
My itch and draw power.
It's needed draw power.
Yes.
And we got it.
It's so good. Now, I don't love control, but sometimes you have to embrace the things you don't like to truly unlock the things that you do.
Oh, kind of like
Control.
Anthony when we played. Yeah.
Control is a necessary evil. Anthony is laughing behind the computer, guys. He's cracking up.
He's dying.
Because he knows it's true. I had to embrace
the thing that you hate.
The control lifestyle to get to play the cards that I love. I can't help it that they made Grandpappy cost 7 ink. I can't help that.
Yeah.
But if he's going to cost 7 ink and I need other things to happen for him to pay off, the game has to last till past turn 7. I have to get to the late game. I have to. Yeah. I can get Pabby out a little early because of ramp, but
Ramp City.
But
Ramp City.
I got to play the Be Prepared, guys.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. I got to. I don't love the card, but I got to do it. So that kind of wraps up.
Don't get me wrong. He loves the card.
I do. It's pretty sweet. It's on the Christmas tree back here. It's right on the Christmas tree.
Boom.
I don't know if you can even see that. Can we see that in the camera, Anthony?
Yeah, kind of.
Let me point at it right here.
Boom. Be prepared.
And for those listening, I pointed at a Be Prepared on a Christmas tree.
There you go.
Because it's a gift.
Well,
all right.
That wraps up this portion. And we're going to take a quick break. When we get back, we're going to go over the mailbag portion. See you in a sec. This episode is also sponsored by Meeple City Games. Looking for a local game store in your 4 states area of Texas, Arkansas, Louisiana, and Oklahoma? Meeple City Games is the place for you. Stocking TCGs such as Magic, Yu-Gi-Oh!, One Piece, and Lorcana, Meeple City Games is your one-stop shop for all your TCG needs. Check out the link in the description below to check out their location. Meeple City Games. Come join the fun. This episode is also sponsored by Texarkana Podcast Studio. Wanting to start your very own podcast or voice web series? Well, Texarkana Podcast Studio is the place for you. Whether it's true crime, sports, murder mystery, or a fun card game you want to talk about with your friends, Texarkana Podcast Studio is here for all of your recording needs. Check out the link in the description below to schedule your first session today. Texarkana Podcast Studio, where your voice is heard. And welcome back. And today we have one question from YouTube and one question
From two questions from Twitter.
Two questions from YouTube.
No,
Even
Twitter.
Oh,
Both from Twitter. X.
bro, that freaking looks like okay. I guess yeah. Okay, fine.
All
It's
right.
Twitter. Okay, so we got two questions from Twitter. The first question, because technically, something that I said earlier was tied to this question. We have a question from Lorcana Quest at Lorcana Quest, and he says, "Whoops! I apparently rephrased some of at Brimley Games questions. So here's another one. What is your favorite unexpected interaction? For instance, being able to ready Christopher Robin multiple times per turn for extra lore wasn't something that I initially picked up on.
Neither was it for you.
And neither did I. I straight up had no idea. It just like, it didn't dawn on me at first. Was like, okay, this is going to be
But
pretty
to be fair, you thought about that before you saw this question.
Oh, yeah. No.
Just saying.
I had no idea about this question.
You were
when
both surprised.
When I walked
Lorcana
in,
Quest.
I was like, yeah, this is going to be great. I figure something out. It's going to be awesome. Somebody beat me to it, which is okay. I'm
So,
fine with that. I will give credit where
the
credit is due.
interaction, what is the interaction that you were most surprised by? Like, what's your one?
Honestly, the Christopher Robin and I Can Go the Distance. That's solid.
Okay.
Like, did not even think about that at first, and was like, wait a minute. Oh, that's good. Oh, that's good. That's gross.
It's a combo. It is a true combo. That's like a.
And for
you
those
don't really
who
want to
don't
play
know, I am a combo player. I need combo in my life.
It's true.
This
It's true.
does it.
So my interaction that I would say surprised me the most when it didn't initially pick up on it was World's Greatest Criminal Mind with support. So I think we've talked about it previously in other
Yeah.
episodes, but
I brought it up. That was
Yeah,
the very first thing I brought up.
it's specifically with two cards. It was the Queen, the Bloodborne Queen
Yes.
with World's
Such
Greatest
a good
Criminal Mind,
card.
because they're in the same color set, and if you have one strength, the Queen puts you there where you can get taken out. So that was a card interaction. I was like, World's Greatest Criminal Mind. I mean, it's
Are there any
it's
cards that have
conditional
zero?
removal. Yeah, there's plenty of cards that have zero.
Oh,
I can't think of it off the top of my head, but zero strength that exists.
Zeus.
Yeah, stuff like that. But even then, I considered World's Greatest Criminal Mind to be a conditional removal card when I first read the card. And then initially, that was the mistake,
Yeah.
because I was like, wait, support's really good with that. But I guess you have to have a support character, which means that you're going to have to kind of give up supporting your other character, which typically you build your deck to synergize like that. And then I was like, well, the Queen automatically wants to use her ability to get rid of other things. So now you can get rid of it in a more creative way. It's like you can -4 strength to something else, +4 strength to something else they have, Greatest Criminal Mind, remove that thing, and then cleanly remove the thing that you didn't really need extra help to
Yeah.
get over. It's pretty sweet. So that's
Good
like a
combinations. Good
really good
combinations.
combination.
There was another combination that I saw later that I did not like. It didn't register in my brain until I started like looking at combinations of cards for decks. The Floodborn Jasmine from set
Oh,
1
yes.
and Grandpappy. So stinking dumb.
Dude.
Why does this even exist? Because you quest with her and you heal everything. Not one, not two, everything.
And he's going to gain lore, 2 lore for every
Every
character.
single card that gets healed.
So you can really, as long as you have other cards that exist, like even himself, if you, like, I'm pretty sure with Pabby,
If
I need
everything
to-
gets hurt,
I need to clarify this real quick, because I'm pretty sure, let's see, whenever you remove 1 or more damage from one of your characters, even himself.
Yep.
So you can challenge with him. I mean, you really want to quest
you don't
with him.
want to, yeah.
But other characters are a given. You're going to play other characters.
Yeah.
So, yeah, getting 2 lore for every single one of them that can just survive a
So
challenge,
good.
it's pretty sweet.
the combination between those two, there are a lot of cards that at least that have come out that like do single heal and whatever. Like Gumbo Pot, amazing.
Yeah, it's cool.
1 from 2.
I would say
is
Gumbo
solid.
Pot is a little worse than I thought it was initially, just because you really have to build a deck that's all about taking the damage, get the heals,
Yeah.
take the damage, get the heals. And I think there's some things that might just naturally overpower that strategy.
Yeah,
But it's still cool.
it's still really good. It's still solid.
All right.
I put it together a little bit. It's pretty good.
The next question we have is from Stephen Gettle at SGETTLE. Gettle. He says, with more product availability, draft becomes viable, but it's still pretty expensive for 4 packs since there's no free land from the store to add like a Magic deck. What do you think of the 3-pack draft and unlimited store commons added in, or a 4th draft pack of random 12 commons? This is a tricky one because you have to know how draft works in Lorcana. In order to do the draft, you have to have 4 packs and you pretty much build a 40-card deck. You can use all the colors, which means there's no color restrictions. The thing is, my concern with this strategy of getting 3 packs and unlimited store commons would be cheap. Like I can see how a store could have unlimited commons, but you're just going to build really tuned stuff.
Yeah,
you
and
know,
basically just getting friends on the other side.
Yeah, you're going to get all the friends on the other sides. Like as we've seen in Lorcana, commons don't mean they're bad. It's not like other games where like a good common's a surprise. There's a lot of good common cards in this game. Pawpsicle's a common, you know?
And it's really good.
Yeah.
It's 1 drop.
So there's a slight hesitance of like unlimited store commons. Great idea, but you're going to get constructed decks.
I think that 4th pack of just straight commons or a mix of commons and
like,
uncommons,
yeah.
that's actually like
That's a decent one.
that's not a bad idea.
But it would have to be store created. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And store accounted for of like these cards that have a Sharpie mark on them are draft cards that we
Yeah.
reuse every week. You
Yeah.
know? That'd be tough, but that is something that I think stores could explore.
for sure.
I do hope with product availability increasing over the holidays that prices come down enough where a draft is realistic. I know we did a draft on our first set 1 whenever we all met up and stuff.
Yep.
But I will
Which
say
was
that,
fun.
Yeah, it was fun. But I totally understand the pain of like, not everybody has that situation. You know, we are very blessed and privileged to have the stores that we have in our town and to have a setup where like they have known us for a long time. So product availability doesn't really affect us the same way it might other people. And we definitely sympathize with that situation
sure.
because I've been there with Pokemon in the past. With availability of Pokemon, it was dry. So yeah, I understand it's not
And
the case for everybody.
I'm currently there with One Piece, so I get it. Trust me.
All right. Well, I
Dude,
think
that's
that just
it.
about wraps it up.
We did it. We made it. We tried to keep it short.
Yeah.
We might not have succeeded, but hey, we love you guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you could, please get down in the comments, leave us some stuff there. Talk to us.
Let
We
us
love
know
to
what you
talk
think
back.
about the strategies and what card you want to cook with.
Oh, absolutely.
Because I know everybody has that card that inspired them.
Because everybody wants to cook. But definitely like, subscribe, share the video. Check out our full channel. We've got a bunch of stuff on here.
Product openings, gameplays, other podcast topics, of course.
All the things.
All the things.
So much fun. But yeah, I guess until next time, Digital Me, take us out. Thanks again, guys, for listening to Ready Set Live. If you could, like and share the content and subscribe to the channel, as well as hitting that notification bell for updates on when we post new content. Don't forget to leave a comment as we check for any questions that you guys might have, as well as things to add to our mailbag portion of the podcast. And who knows, maybe your question will be answered in the next episode. And thanks again to Texarkana Podcast Studio for their contribution in making this episode possible. As always, this is the crew from Ready Set Draw, ending our turn.